Our main guy, Wusung, he's like a lot of people. He worked his entire life saving up to buy an apartment. Now, this isn't some mansion we're talking about. This place is only 48 square meters, around 516 square feet. Think a small, cozy apartment. Just when Wusung's starting to feel like he's made it, things get weird. He starts hearing strange noises coming from the ceiling. Plus, it turns out his neighbors aren't exactly friendly. So this place that was supposed to be his sanctuary, his home sweet home, quickly turns into a living hell, right in the middle of a bustling apartment complex. Now, to understand Wusung's situation, you gotta know what's going on in Seoul, the city where he lives. Apartment prices are insane. They've been skyrocketing for 40 weeks straight. For a lot of people, this is their last chance to buy a home. If they miss out, they might never be able to afford an apartment in Seoul, ever. So, picture this. Wusung is taking the bus, rushing, sprinting to try and buy this apartment. But get this. The apartment price increased 10.000.0001, about $7,500 in 1 hour. And the landlord? He's totally nonchalant, like, take it or leave it, buddy. There's a line of people waiting right behind you. This is common in Seoul because of the fast pace and urgency of people trying to get an apartment. Wusung knows he has to get the apartment, so he reluctantly signs the papers. Before all of this, he'd scraped together every single penny, every last dollar he had to buy an apartment. He dreamed about this apartment because it would be big, a whopping 84 square meters, around 900 square feet, to start a nice life with his wife. Now, we cut to Wusung lying on the floor of this cramped, dark apartment. He's surrounded by overdue bills, spoiled food, and insects. He's woken up by the noises coming from upstairs. Adding insult to injury, the power's been cut off because he hasn't paid the bill. Wusung drags himself to work, and there he sees it, an advertisement for the apartment. He sees that his apartment is dropping in price, and he bought it only recently. Wusung is practically in shock, thinking about all the money he borrowed from the bank. The money is adding up every day because of the interest, and he's going broke because of his apartment. To make things even worse, his colleagues are making a fortune investing in cryptocurrency, and he regrets not investing in cryptocurrency. His boss is trying to comfort him, but it's like he's not even listening. A colleague of his gave him a cigarette to smoke. Wusung continues waiting to see if the price of the apartment goes up again, but he doesn't have enough money from his paycheck to even pay the bank. Even though he is struggling, he decides not to sell the apartment because he thinks that it will go up in price one day. His friends want to invite him to the retirement party for their sales manager. But Wusung is struggling and doesn't care about the party. Wusung is just trying to work hard to pay off his debt. One of his colleagues tells him to get drunk and ask the sales manager how he was able to make so much money. The sales manager invested in cryptocurrency, but Wusung did not and regrets it. Two men are stuck in debt for their house, and they are worried and lost in their thoughts. That evening, he nervously gathers his belongings to go home after work. He even takes the chance to charge his flashlight at work to use when he gets home. When he gets home, there is a note that says that the neighbor's kids are in the 12th grade and 8th grade, which is a very sensitive time for the children. He also notices a man is sitting near the stairwell. As soon as Wusung gets home, he hears strange noises from the ceiling. He gets angry and calls the manager of the apartment to complain about his upstairs neighbor. His downstairs neighbor put a note on the door, but Wusung does not make noise, so he is innocent. He grabs his flashlight, turns it off to save battery, and starts working as a delivery driver. So there is his routine trying to make some money. Wusung is pedaling his bicycle, getting through the rain, getting through each delivery. He doesn't care if it is hard, and is trying to get each delivery done. That night, Wusung gets home and finds another note stuck to his door from the downstairs neighbor, complaining about the noise. He struggles to take a shower in his dark bathroom and is woken up once again by the noise coming from upstairs. Wusung decides to investigate. He goes outside and sees a creepy-looking older woman. It's his downstairs neighbor. He opens the door, and she immediately starts accusing him of making noise, even though he keeps telling her that he's woken up by the noise too. The downstairs neighbor still trusts her husband that the noise is coming from Wusung's apartment. Wusung gets tired and goes back inside, but the woman blocks his door and leans in. She warns him that the noise only happens when he's home. She says he had better not let her husband find him, or it will become a big problem. The woman barges into Wusung's apartment to inspect it. She looks around and sees that it's quiet. She thinks Wusung is looking down on her because she's renting, so he is causing noise. Wusung can't take it anymore and storms upstairs. He's greeted by a guy who looks kind of athletic. Wusung hesitantly shows him the notes from the downstairs neighbor and explains that he's also being bothered by the noise, and that the downstairs neighbor has also complained. The upstairs neighbor, who looks like he works out and lifts weights, starts getting angry because he's being blamed for something he didn't do. Wusung stammers and says he'll look into things more carefully. While Wusung is talking to his upstairs neighbor, the neighbor says that Wusung should check the apartment above him because that apartment has also been making noise. Wusung feels defeated because everyone around him is saying that he is making noise. So, Wusung goes to the 16th floor and sees kids, but the apartment has carpet to reduce noise. The man doesn't set alarms in the morning because he doesn't want to wake up the kids. So, the man is cautious of the neighbors around him. However, Wusung claims that he is making noise, so the man gets angry as well. He gets into the elevator and is late for work, and tells Wusung that it is the 17th floor that is making all the noise, not him. Wusung is in shock because how can the 17th floor be making noise when Wusung is on the 14th floor? The man in the elevator tells him to go see for himself because he is tired of the situation. Wusung reluctantly goes to the 17th floor, where he meets an old couple. The old man needs to use a walker to get around, so that is where the noise may come from. Wusung explains to them that the noise happens when the old man wakes up. But the old man asks Wusung if he has any evidence, and that he is turning him into an old, noisy man for no reason. The old man says that he has problems even walking and is depressed. The old man just gets angry and basically tells him to talk to the resident representative. Wusung drags himself up to the top floor. He's standing around, confused, not sure who to talk to, and no one is coming to greet him. Just as he's about to leave, a woman opens her door. She seems to be the resident representative. The resident representative says all the apartments in the building are connected, so who knows who's really causing the noise. So, the representative doesn't know who is the one that is making the noise and is adding to the conspiracy that Wusung is trying to resolve. But the resident representative, Unwa, claims she has a solution. Unwa lives in apartment 13, right below Wusung. She suggests that the noise might be coming from people renting out apartment 13, and because of that, she suggests that Wusung put up with it for the next 2 months, and tells Wusung that they will not renew their contract. She gives Wusung an envelope to calm him down. She speaks very smoothly, saying that she's the resident representative and wants everyone to live in peace. Wusung is almost convinced and doesn't dare ask for anything more. A homeowner like Wusung is clearly treated better than a renter, and she also knows that Wusung is struggling with loan interest and being looked down upon by his neighbors. Unwa even mentions a new subway line opening soon, which makes Wusung hopeful that his apartment price will go up. Wusung uses the money from the envelope to buy some good food, but when he gets home, he finds a bunch of notes stuck to his bike, and his delivery bike has a flat tire. Even his co-worker, seeing how terrible the situation is, suggests that Wusung should report it to the police. But Wusung doesn't want to, thinking that he should just put up with it for the sake of neighborhood harmony. Then, the co-worker suggests getting the old sales manager drunk to get information about cryptocurrency investment. Wusung warns his co-worker not to get involved in that kind of thing, but the co-worker shows Wusung a message. Tonight, GB coin will hit rock bottom, then it will skyrocket and peak at 815% on Independence Day. The opportunity for profit sounds nice, because Wusung has had so much debt and would like to have more income. That huge potential profit makes Wusung stop and ask again. He curses at his co-worker for believing in such nonsense. It's also because Wusung doesn't have any money to invest, even if he wanted to. He's already struggling with debt, and his friend is telling him to take out a high-interest loan. But his co-worker keeps trying to convince him, saying that this is the only way to pay off his debt, because if he borrows the money and makes a profit, Wusung will pay off the 700 million won in debt and still have 20 million won left over. Even though he seemed not to care, during work, he received a message that he was not eligible for a loan. The messenger says that if he needs money urgently, he can mortgage his apartment, which makes Wusung rub his head hard to clear his thoughts. Even while he's struggling to change his bike tire after that last delivery disaster, he's still glued to his phone, watching that cryptocurrency. The whole thing is an addiction at this point. By the time he finishes another delivery, the currency keeps plummeting. Sitting in a restaurant waiting for his food, he's constantly staring at his phone screen, checking the prices. He cannot get his mind off the coin that could save him from his debt. While Wusung is riding his bike to make a delivery, he gets hit by a car. He goes flying and the food spills all over the road. Sung drags his broken bike down the street and decides to call his friend about investing in cryptocurrency. He announces that he's about to have some money and goes straight to a real estate office. He says he needs to sell his apartment immediately. He needs to sell it for 850 million won tonight to get that good price. After that, he searches for some apartments to rent temporarily, but every single place has problems. Suddenly, he gets a call from the real estate broker, but the selling price has been forced down to 800 million won. Sung thinks about it and sees that the cryptocurrency is still dropping in price, so he agrees, but with the condition that he keeps the 85 million won deposit. The buyer is Jun Cheol, the son of the person signing, who is currently in the US. Sung signs the apartment sales agreement, and the 85 million won deposit is transferred to his account. He immediately rushes home because his phone is at 5% battery, so he frantically runs up the stairs to his 14th floor apartment. He finally makes it and plugs in his phone. He calls his friend and says that he sold his apartment and has 85 million won in the deposit. If he makes a profit, he can cancel the sales agreement and pay the 170 million won penalty. His friend tells him that it's only worth buying the cryptocurrency when it's at 815 won. Sung's sweaty hands shake as he stares at the screen, and there is also noise from upstairs. When the cryptocurrency price finally jumps past 815, he successfully buys in. That night, he doesn't sleep. He's just watching the cryptocurrency steadily rise. He calls his friend, who tells him that August 15th will be the peak, and he has to sell at exactly 8:15 a.m. If he misses that time, he'll pay the price. Sung opens the curtains and smiles, as if a bright future is shining on him. He starts cleaning his trash-filled apartment to prepare for a bright future. Finally, Sung is smiling. Sung smiles more as the profit from the cryptocurrency skyrockets. His apartment is cleaner than ever. That night, while he's dozing off, a stranger breaks into his apartment. The stranger leaves a bag with metal pipes inside and starts looking around. He sees Sung's computer, which is constantly monitoring the cryptocurrency price. What is this guy up to? When Sung wakes up because of the noise, he is startled by his neighbors outside the door. They ask if everything is okay. Jinh Ho demands to come inside and check if there is noise. He finds nothing. Sung has no idea what to do, because he didn't do anything wrong. He says he suspects the noise is coming from downstairs and invites Jinh Ho to check it out. But Jinh Ho doesn't believe him and warns Sung to be careful, which makes Sung furious. Sung starts destroying his apartment to get revenge on the downstairs neighbors. At that moment, someone is filming him through the window. He storms down to apartment 13, but they refuse to open the door. A girl from the next apartment comes out and blames him for making noise, then quickly leaves. That night, as Sung is looking at the building and smoking a cigarette, a stranger comes up and asks for a light. The stranger tells him that there was a murder in the building next door because neighbors suspected each other of making noise. The stranger also mentions that such a thing would cause property values to plummet, which enrages Sung. Sung quickly gets away from the creepy guy, but the man gets into the same elevator with him. It turns out to be the man from apartment 13, holding a box cutter. Sung immediately becomes cautious and defensive. He runs back to his apartment for safety, waiting for Independence Day. At the same time, he starts creating a lot of noise to get revenge on everyone, because he believes that once Independence Day arrives, he'll be free from everything. As a result, everyone in the neighborhood hates him and wants him to confront them. Sung only cares about staring at the screen. He wakes up, and his mother has made him a nice meal. His mother is kind and caring, but the walls around him start to crumble, which makes him freak out. Sung is falling into hell, but it was a dream. Sung is still sweating. On Independence Day, he decides to turn on the air conditioning to enjoy life as someone about to become rich, then starts destroying things to get revenge on his neighbors. Then, he hears people calling for him to come outside to talk. A large crowd is standing outside, whispering about Sung making noise. He tries to explain, but no one believes him. Then, Unwa appears to calm everyone down. Someone is filming, but Unwa notices. Everyone accuses Sung of spreading false rumors. Sung claims that the couple from apartment 13 are the ones doing this, and that the husband is the one who filmed everything. The attention shifts to apartment 13. Sung is so confident in himself that he invites everyone to come into his apartment and inspect it. Suddenly, a strange noise comes from inside Sung's apartment while he is talking to everyone. This clears his name in front of the crowd. However, the manager says there is a speaker creating noise between the buildings. Wu Sung checks his apartment and actually finds the speaker inside. He can't understand who would do this to him. His neighbors start looking at him with disgust, as if he were garbage. Wu Sung accuses the man from apartment 13 of sneaking into his apartment. The man pushes Wu Sung away and then pretends to be dead at the scene. This looks as if Wu Sung killed him. At that moment, the police show up, handcuff Wu Sung, and take him away. It's time to sell the cryptocurrency, but Wu Sung is in handcuffs. He needs to find a way to sell, but he is in a very bad situation. With a lot of effort, he manages to get his broken phone to sell the cryptocurrency, but the phone is so damaged that it's unusable. Wu Sung tricks the police by pretending to have a stomach ache, so he can escape after he is no longer in handcuffs. However, he is immediately caught. He sees a computer in the police station, so he dives in and blocks the police from entering. Wu Sung logs into the cryptocurrency trading system and uses his intuition to blindly enter the confirmation code. He puts all his luck and manages to enter the number 83. Wu Sung sees that the profit has increased by more than 700%. Just as he celebrates, the police find the key to get in. Wu Sung asks the police for 10 seconds to sell. He gets shot with a tranquilizer, but makes it to the computer. Wu Sung shakes as he moves the mouse to the confirm button when it reaches 814% profit. Then, the police trip over the power cord and the computer turns off. Unwa has arrived to vouch for Wu Sung. The police see the video filmed in Wu Sung's apartment from apartment 13. The police apologize and give him back his phone. He goes home and stares at his computer screen, which now shows a 99% loss. Wu Sung starts crying because life is too hard for him. He writes a suicide note to his mother, saying that he's lost everything and apologizes sincerely. He decides to kill himself by jumping off the roof. But as he looks down at the apartment below, he grabs a hammer, intending to deal with those people. Suddenly, he meets Jinh Ho from the 14th floor. The tension between them erupts, and they start fighting. Jinh Ho pulls Wu Sung inside to settle things. He realizes that the noise wasn't caused by Wu Sung. He also sees the suicide note, so he decides to go downstairs with Wu Sung to clear things up. They knock on the door, but they don't open, so Jinh Ho forces the door open. They enter the apartment but don't find anyone, so they start frantically looking for evidence. But there is nothing suspicious. They only see a bunch of unpaid bills and contracts. Notably, there is a rental agreement under the name Jun Cheol. Wu Sung realizes that they bought his apartment. They discover that Unwa is behind everything, trying to take over the whole apartment complex before the subway line increases property values. They decide to expose this evil scheme. Suddenly, Unwa calls Wu Sung and invites him to her house. Unwa offers Wu Sung tea and asks him if he is sure the downstairs neighbor caused self-harm. Suddenly, Jinh Ho calls Unwa to talk about something. Wu Sung uses the opportunity to search her house for the noise-making device. Wu Sung finds a gun in her study and a strange room that can only be opened with a fingerprint lock. Wu Sung finds himself in a different room with Unwa's gang members. The member threatens him with a golf club, and Wu Sung tells them everything and demands that Unwa clarify the truth. Wu Sung doesn't do anything except scream. Unwa snatches the golf club. Jinh Ho pulls him away, but Wu Sung tells Jinh Ho that he is sure the noise comes from the fingerprint-locked room. After that, Wu Sung takes a shower and checks the noise-making device. He discovers that the device is connected to a Wi-Fi network. The pieces of the puzzle are beginning to come together. When he goes up to Jinh Ho's apartment, the Wi-Fi signal is even stronger. But Jinh Ho claims that he doesn't have Wi-Fi, so Wu Sung leaves to find the strongest signal. Everywhere else, the signal is weak, but it's strongest right in front of Jinh Ho's apartment. He rushes to Jinh Ho's gym and is allowed to work out with Jinh Ho himself. The two men enter the sauna together. Jinh Ho keeps changing his story, leaving Wu Sung confused. Jinh Ho is always changing faces, which is hard for Wu Sung. Jinh Ho asks Wu Sung if he wants to kill everyone. Wu Sung says he wants to kill them all. Finally, Wu Sung decides to leave. He sneaks into Jinh Ho's house because he previously swapped their keys. Finally, Wu Sung confirms that Jinh Ho's Wi-Fi name matches the one on the noise-making device. Wu Sung finds a lot of evidence that Jinh Ho is investigating all the residents in the building. He also has a system to monitor all the apartments in the complex, and the control panel can automatically open the doors. Wu Sung also finds a room filled with professional noise-making equipment. Jinh Ho gets home and notices that something is off. All the doors in his house are slightly open, as if someone has been searching. Wu Sung is hiding in a corner of a closet. He clearly witnesses all of Ginho's actions. He sees all of the things Ginho has done to him from the beginning. Wusun quietly hides there until late at night. When he sees Ginho leave, he comes out of the closet. Wusun grabs the hammer and approaches Ginho, who is sound asleep. He raises his hand to kill him, but can't do it. Then, a sudden noise wakes Ginho. Wusun quickly hides under the bed. It turns out that the wife from apartment 13 is destroying the noise-making room. They thought that Wusun found the noise room, but it turns out that Ginho and his wife are working together. Ginho says that her husband was acting and actually hit his head. The wife attacked Ginho with a hammer, but she couldn't do much with her weak strength. Ginho lifts the bed to get to the money, hard drives, and evidence. Ginho gives his wife the money to calm her down, but she smashes all the hard drives. Ginho gets angry and hits her with the hammer. The hard drives were all the evidence that he had. By the time he realizes he just killed someone, it's too late. Wusun is lying under the bed, not even daring to breathe. Ginho starts picking up the hard drives, but realizes one is missing. Wusun looks at the hard drive, then silently hands it to Ginho. He keeps the hammer in his hand in case Ginho attacks. But Ginho grabs it and immediately calls the police, saying that Wusun killed someone downstairs. He also says Wusun will kill the upstairs neighbor, leaving Wusun in shock. Wusun tries to run, but Ginho is waiting for him at the door. Ginho hits himself on the head to make himself bloody and throws the hammer at Wusun, trying to frame him. Ginho even says if Wusun wants to die, he should sacrifice himself to make his death meaningful. Ginho is acting like a crazy man because he hates buying a house at an absurd price. Wusun asks Ginho to stop and go upstairs with him to investigate, but Ginho says he'll use Wusun's death to create an explosion that would mean something. At the last minute, Wusun offers to help Ginho if Ginho helps him get his apartment back. Ginho lets Wusun go and warns him not to reveal anything. Then, Wusun carries the body of his wife from downstairs up to Unwa's apartment. Ginho is monitoring with the hammer. Ginho is the one who opens the door. Ginho cuts the gas line in Unwa's apartment. He then puts the pliers in the wife's hand. They enter, put a plastic bag over Unwa, and kill the man sleeping in the bed. Ginho reveals himself to Unwa. In the past, Unwa didn't allow the spread of news about the building's faulty construction. Ginho almost died trying to collect the information. From then on, Ginho has been monitoring Unwa. Unwa said that there was a misunderstanding, and she wanted to explain. Ginho doesn't care and asks to see the ledger that details all the money Unwa and her construction supervisor husband received and laundered. It also includes the names of those involved in the faulty construction. Unwa continues to deny it until Ginho says that he heard everything. She then says that her husband knew everything and she was not involved. Ginho uses the dead husband's fingerprint to unlock the secret room. During this time, Unwa recognizes Wusun. She asks if he's the killer and if he's threatened. Wusun says he's acting to stay alive, because Ginho had already killed the wife from downstairs and was planning to kill him. Wusun says he'll help Unwa escape. Wusun starts untying Unwa. He asks if the air gun in the room works. Unwa promises to take care of everything. While he's untying her, Ginho suddenly comes back and drags Unwa away. He is angry because he can't find the ledger. Wusun gets the air gun, but Ginho sees the reflection of Wusun through the glass. Ginho pushes Wusun away and says that he joined Unwa. Ginho punches Wusun repeatedly. Unwa shoots Ginho with the air gun, and he runs away. Ginho is chased by Unwa's husband with a hammer. Unwa hides in the room and locks it, leaving Wusun outside. Wusun grabs a stick for defense and looks for Ginho. He finds Ginho has been stabbed in the stomach by his husband. Unwa forces Wusun to kill Ginho. Unwa says that there are already 2 deaths. Somebody must take responsibility. Unwa says she'll take all the blame and wants Wusun to do it. But before Wusun can do anything, Ginho coughs up black blood and dies. Then, Unwa attacks Wusun, yelling at him for not doing anything. Unwa has the ledger hidden in a magazine. She has power in her hands. She takes a golf club and is planning to kill Wusun. Suddenly, Ginho appears behind her, grabs Unwa, and chokes her until she dies. With his last breath, Ginho asks Wusun to grab the ledger in the magazine and show it to him. After getting the ledger and his apartment sales agreement, Wusun throws both into the microwave to burn them. Ginho watches the ledger burn. Wu Sung looks at everyone with anger for getting involved in this crazy situation. After that, Wu Sung walks out of the building as Unwa's apartment explodes. He wakes up in the hospital with his mother. After that, Wu Sung goes to meet an official to report the situation. The official asks if Wu Sung saw anything in the ledger and concludes that what Jinh Ho had been looking for never existed. Wu Sung does not say anything, but still thinks about the entire situation. Wu Sung and his mother leave and return to his hometown. He rests and eats grilled meat with his mother. But one day, he drives his mother's car back to the old place. He goes to the 14th floor and enters the apartment. He retrieves the apartment sales documents and stares at the ceiling with a sad look on his face. The movie ends here.